Welcome to the live stream. We're delighted to have you. And there's certain products that we're not going to endorse, and so they won't be on camera. I start these things up instantaneously when I'm done with my morning bike ride. Sometimes. Today's one of those times. So we're going full nerd on weather. We'll talk space weather. We'll talk current events. We'll talk nutrition, whatever you got. Whatever you got. Bring it. Bring it. Especially if you want to go uphill on a bike. You want to go uphill on a bike or do a time trial? Yeah. Bring it. Whatever you got, whoever you got, let's go. We'll go uphill like a rocket. How about that? Uphill like a rocket, and on flat ground we'll go scary fast. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. And of course, don't forget to make sure that you patronize your local bike shop. Of course, corporate logos not being seen here because they're backwards, because the YouTube camera thing, it's whatever. So maybe I shouldn't have even stated that this video has a paid promotion. And incidentally, I'm not paid by the Velo Shop, although it is the USAC trade team. So yeah, let us know what you're thinking about, and let me shut my face here for a few minutes while some folks join the stream. In the meantime, enjoy this striptease, because you won't see that every day on YouTube live videos, but today, lucky you get to see one. So, all right, y'all ready for this? I'm gonna take it off, some of it, maybe even all of it. No, I'm not gonna really take it all off, folks. I'm gonna take the heart rate monitor off, though, that's for sure. And just so you know, not on the U.S. national team, not a U.S. national champion. I could be on the U.S. national team someday, theoretically speaking. I may take up some disciplines that I don't currently race, so it is possible, but not at the moment. This is because of budgetary concerns and for comfort and aerodynamics, of course. Anyway, let me step off camera here for a moment and not get grease on my gear. Ah, yes. Just, well, that's not working very well, is it? Ah. Modesty. When we used to change our uniforms and adjust our uniforms in Taekwondo, we would turn around and face the other way. Because if you're going to have your junk hanging out, the rest of the class doesn't need to see it. Only the people with lower belts. The people with lower belts need to see your abs, but not the people with higher belts. If they turn around, they don't want to see you taking your clothes off. Right? The high belts, they're in the front of the class, at the dojo, or whatever you call your thing. Your temple, your Shaolin temple, or wherever you claim to take martial arts. By the way, I do love the martial arts revival. This sudden emphasis where everybody's like, I do Brazilian jiu-jitsu, bro. Like, I love that. I would never participate in MMA. It's not my cup of tea, but... So yeah, what are y'all up to? Oh, I see some comments. And hi to Kevin Thornton, our first hi sayer of the day. Brownie Dog wants to know where I live. Well, the answer is in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. So, am I live? Yeah, it's live. So, yes, Brownie Dog, it's live. You can tell because it's a live stream. It's not an upload. It would be under videos. Never mind. You get the idea. You know how YouTube works. One would hope. How are the comic strips going, Gemma? Yes. Well, cheers. Welcome. Congratulations on catching a live stream. I mean, we've been doing them every morning around this time, so it's pretty easy. Oh, I'd be happy to comment on the Schumann resonance. The Schumann resonance. They are weak harmonic radio signals that bounce back and forth in between Earth's ionosphere and Earth's lithosphere. They uh, they are harmonic resonances in that they are like there are certain halves of each frequency that are bouncing around and creating resonances. It's all based on literally the distance from the lithosphere to the ionosphere. The ionosphere does vary in altitude. The lithosphere varies in altitude because of mountains as the Earth rotates. And then, of course, every day the ionosphere gets heated up, which expands it. So the ionosphere gets both higher and lower. The ionosphere kind of goes like this throughout the day. And then at night, it kind of goes like this. And the Schumann resonance is bouncing in between the ionosphere and the lithosphere. But it's a weak radio signal. Think of your garage door opener, or a Wi-Fi signal, but a different frequency than that. That is what the Schumann resonance is. What a Schumann resonance isn't is the cause of your headaches. It is not determinant of weather. It has no predictive value for weather. You can't look at the Schumann and say, "Oh, there's been a thunderstorm," or "There's going to be a thunderstorm." It doesn't work like that. What Schumann resonance especially isn't is space weather. Okay, the reason the Schumann resonance is not space weather, and you can verify this with Tamitha Skov if you'd like. The reason it's not space weather is because the Schumann resonance does not take place in space. Space begins at the ionosphere. So the Schumann resonance, it's between the lithosphere and the ionosphere. So what's happening is that the signal, when it gets to the ionosphere, it's sort of adopted by the ionized material in the bottom of the ionosphere, which re-emits it. That's just the way it works. So yeah, the Schumann resonance, it's little more than a novelty. And if you think it is affecting your health, I'm not doubting your experience or your symptoms, but you should definitely look up the Schumann resonance and do a little research on them, because it's unlikely that it's affecting your health. It may affect your dreams if you're actually like in a tent, especially. And especially, depending on where you're located in the world, because keep in mind, what's going on above your head is very different from what's going on over Tomsk, Russia. So the Schumann resonances are typically measured in Tomsk time also. So if you are trying to equate the Schumann resonances with your health symptoms or whatever, make sure that you adjust for Tomsk time, which is very far east in Russia. I think it's GMT like +8 or +9 or something like that. So it's really, really far east. It's in Siberia, I think. So yeah, Tomsk, Russia is where it's typically measured and reported on. Thanks to everybody who's pressed like. Congratulations on realizing the channel exists. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to press subscribe. There's all kinds of evergreen content in our playlists and so on. Everything from the Smash News Network, least busted name in news, does not discriminate. So we put up any kind of content about whatever we want, whenever we want, and we say whatever we want about whoever we want, whenever we want. Because last I checked, this is still the U.S., and pretty sure the First Amendment is still a thing. So, yeah, I'm pointing the camera up here because I don't want to divulge the absolute mess that is the Gondo. I will give you a quick look here at Jaws and Phelps. Jaws and Phelps. There are Jaws and Phelps. There's James T. Kirk. He is planking. What up, James T. Kirk? You want to say hi to the YouTube viewers? You're a rock star. Oh, you're made out of rocks and spikes. Okay. And there's Bubbles. Hey, Bubs. There's Ricky. All right, fuck off. I got work to do. All right, so anyway, back to you, Rubes. Leave us a comment and tell us about your pets. Yes, pets. We want to know. So, bear with me 1 minute here. I will get to the meat of the stream. I just want to consume a little protein. We always start these before we get serious because, well, one major reason, and that is we want people to show up before we start talking about the important things. The hurricane. Ooh, people are talking about a hurricane hitting the East Coast, but they shouldn't be. Be right back. because the hurricane ain't going to hit the East Coast. In fact, the hurricane's probably not even going to be a hurricane. But I digress. I'll show you some models, and I'll show you why it's going to fizzle. And even the models will not play out. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Or come back a little later. Maybe I won't even be talking with my mouth full and politely. Fortunately, YouTube has zero manners or politeness, so not too worried about it. All right. So yeah, glad you're able to catch a live stream there, Gemma. All right, and what do we have? What do we have? So Brownie Dog asks, how long will I bike today? I think I've done about 40 minutes. It was a test run. A lovely foggy morning, so I had to go out and step on the gas and max out a little bit and, you know, see what the legs were up to, because I've been feeling a little sluggish and waiting for some training to sort of have the gains realized. And yeah, so I had to do a little bit of testing. And that's one of the great things about the sport of cycling, is that you're a living laboratory. So since you're a living laboratory, get some data. Push some pedals hard for a long time like you meant it. Just hitting some roast beef here, folks. Bear with me. We will talk about space, about Earth, and even maybe about Earthlings. But remember, the most interesting subject is always ideas. Yes, ideas. Oh, Ed Cycling, you want to see the bike? Really? It's not pretty. My time trial bike, it's ancient. It's ancient and heavy and aluminum, but it is aero. It does have a disc wheel, just not one installed right now. And it does indeed go quickly. So there it is. It's my Trek Hilo 2000, complete with the team sticker, even though the Velo Shop doesn't sell Treks, nor should they. I don't even like Trek, but I used to ride for a shop that was a Trek dealer, and somebody screwed them over with this bike, so I got a killer deal on it because it had been in their shop for like over a year, and some triathlete screwed them over. So it just happened to fit me right, so I got a crazy deal. And as a TT specialist, you do have to have a time trial bike, and I'm a TT specialist, so yeah, it's the only time trial bike I've ever owned. Let's just say the next one will be a little bit more sophisticated. Probably a BMC time machine. Maybe even a speed machine, which is just a newer version of the time machine. I believe the difference is just the disc brakes. So, yeah. But yeah, I was looking at the BMC time machine that was, I think it was 2200 or 2300. It had zip 808s on it, and it's 11-speed zip 808s. So just the wheel set is probably worth $1,500. So that one, I couldn't go wrong with that, because if I bought that bike, it would I'd actually be able to swap the wheels out and use them on my regular road bike, which means I'd be rocking zip 808s on my regular road bike, and then I'd put a Mercury 43 millimeter deep dish on the front, and get a disc wheel, you know, like a Zip Sub-Zero for the back. I mean, I mean, this trek goes shockingly fast, even uphill. But like, wait till I get a modern bike. Next season, I'll probably get something a lot more like relevant in the current Tour de France scope of things, and it'll be freaking so fast, yo. It's all right. So I explained the Schumann resonance. Hey, from Texas to Ambrose. Cheers. Thanks for tuning in to the Smash News Network, least busted name in news. And what else do we have here? Um, Bananas on bikes, yo. Yeah, go bananas on your bike. It's the best. And if you need an upgrade, the best thing is tires and tubes. TPU tubes, some new tires by Vittoria, and like Vittoria tires, not Victoria, Vittoria. Vittoria Italia are so good. So good. So Brownie Dog says, "Do you get scared? Are there ever scary moments when you bike?" Regularly. Regularly. Those moments keep us grounded. They keep us reminded that you can be dead at any moment, okay? You could be hit by a meteorite right now. You could become the bridge between meteor and meteorite. And if so, you're not likely to survive. I mean, those things are traveling at average speed of, I think it's about 38 to 48,000 miles per hour. So that's not like a bullet. That's a little faster than one of those. Yeah, there are scary moments constantly. Danger is part of what keeps us going. All right. The reason running outside, riding a bike outside, hiking, rock climbing, trail runs, kayaking, the reason all of that stuff has a higher efficacy as a workout plan is because people stick with it. Why do they stick with it? We're not sure. But indoor workouts like treadmills and gyms, they're fine. They should constitute part of your fitness program. But they don't have a high efficacy if you only do that thing. Like if your whole fitness plan is just get a gym membership and you're just gonna like use the stuff in the gym, it's better than nothing. But you're not. People don't tend to stick with those from an epidemiological perspective. Brownie Dog says, "I look so skinny. Is that so I can bike faster?" I mean, really? You think so? It's I'm pretty stacked for a cyclist. Like I'm kind of big. I'm kind of big and heavy actually. So I don't know what you're talking about. If you look at guys in the Tour de France and stuff, their arms are like this. It's look, I have muscles. So my upper body is pretty stacked actually. Conspiracy theory says you like to look like you you like to look like you look like you'd like to go fast. Yeah. What can I say? I mean, I started as a mountain bike racer. I was very aero back then, and I'm even more aero now. So, yeah, I go fast, and I'm gonna get an Insta 360 cam that we're gonna start using on the channel. It's just a matter of time. Probably not until November. In November, we'll probably get an Insta 360 cam, and I mean, you'll get to see the stuff that I do, exactly what I'm doing, and we'll be able to show you 360 view. I mean, those Insta 360 cams are so awesome. You can put them on the back of the bike, you put them on the front of the bike. It's so cool. I mean, you will see adventures like you would not believe on the Insta 360 cam. It's going to be bonkers. I mean, I did have an action cam before. I even did some rides with Becky Quinn, owner of the Velo Shop, and Don and some of the junior riders. There are some videos about that stuff. Check out the playlist, youtube.com/snazamash/playlists. It's the driving, riding, and pro tips section. Do you ever just want to go somewhere and keep biking all winter? I do keep biking all winter. I have the gear to do it here in Pennsylvania or anywhere in the world. I mean, I could, maybe not Antarctica, but you can't really ride in Antarctica in the winter. It's a little bit too deadly. Fun fact, if you winter in Antarctica, you have to have a good back. Why is that? Because everybody has to shovel snow nearly every day. Why is that? Because if you don't, you'll die. You will get encased in snow. It will turn to ice. You will not be able to get out of the buildings, and you'll die. I mean, it's basically that simple. So like the scientists that stay there over the winter, and there are only about a dozen people, I think, that winter in Antarctica, they have to Um, they have to they have to be physically fit. They have to have good backs. If you have a bad back, you will not be picked to winter in Antarctica. And I'd actually like to do it because it seems like it'd be fun. You know, the coldest, darkest place in the world. You got to shovel snow every day to survive. I'm into that sort of thing. That's fun. I do that for fun. I go ride up mountains when it's 100 degrees out. I go ride up mountains when we have a high of 8 Fahrenheit. Like that's what I do. Fuzzy Booger says I respect bicyclists but can't stand those goofy helmets. Lol, sorry. I mean, yeah, helmets are a big deal, and like the difference between a nice helmet and a crap helmet is a big difference. You know, if you buy like a helmet from Walmart or something like that, it's not the same as if you buy like a top level race helmet. I mean, it. Look, they cost like $400 now, so I'm not saying that you should do that. The whole sport, like everything, is so expensive that it's prohibitive for people to get involved. Except if you buy used bikes, like used bike. Look, I ride for a bike shop, and they'll be the first to tell you, shit is way too expensive. It's out of control. But yeah, helmets. Look, we don't think we look cool on the bike. No, nobody. Filippo Ganna, the current world 1 hour record holder, which is the most coveted record in all of cycling, the most coveted thing. It's like some people consider that more important than the Tour de France. How far can you ride in 1 hour? The 1 hour record. Filippo Ganna definitely does not think he looks cool on the bike. He looks cool to us because he's so aero. You know, he has a great position, and he's like an absolute diesel ox. I mean, he's probably like 6 foot. I think he's like 6 foot 170 or something like that. But he is just jacked, and I mean, yeah, Filippo Ganna does not look cool on the bike. Does not think he looks cool on the bike. So don't think we look cool on the bike. We know that we look ridiculously. But while you're looking ridiculously, you can do things to look less ridiculously, right? Be fit. Have the correct wear the correct stuff. Wear your actual team kit. Get paid to ride a bike. Wear sponsors. You know, you're a living billboard. It's fantastic. I mean, the levels of positivity in the sport of cycling are super high because look, you have to be able to like survive. You know what I mean? It's pretty hard. Fuzzy Booger, look, if you're gonna buy a new bike, if you're trying to do it on a budget, spend at least 400 or 500 bucks. All right, get a used bike that costs 300, 400, 500 bucks, or a new bike 400 or 500 bucks. You know, if you want something that's really nice, go 1,000, 2,000. Look at used bikes. Make sure you get the bike that fits correctly. Get a bike that's for what you want to do. All right. If you're going to ride off road, just on like simple gravel paths and stuff like that, get a gravel bike. If you're only going to ride on single track and really technical mountainous terrain with all kinds of rocks and drop offs and jumps and stuff like that, get a mountain bike. If you're only going to ride the road, get a road bike or even a gravel bike. I mean, you can put road tires on a gravel bike. You know, those are probably the most versatile. I think if I had to only own one bike, it would probably be a gravel bike because I could set it up for the time trial. I could set it up for road riding. I could set it up to ride gravel, and I could even ride most mountain trails on it, assuming the gearing was low enough. I wouldn't be able to go as fast as like a full suspension mountain bike. Again, retired cross country mountain bike racer. But yeah, it all depends on what you're using it for. And if you're not sure, get a fit at your local bike shop. They will typically include the cost of the bike fit in the cost of the bike. Getting a bike fit costs like 200 bucks. It requires high levels of skill. So, you know, get fit perfectly and you'll be amazed. If you buy a high-end bike, you will be like, how did I not do this before? I mean, if you like riding bikes, if you buy a really nice bike, you will be like, what the hell? It'll require practically no maintenance for like so long, most likely. Um, you know, it's an incredible thing, and it's the deepest rabbit hole of any sport. There's no sport that has more sub disciplines, and there's no better lifetime sport. How many sports out there have a world championships for the 100 plus age group? Let me know in the comments what you think. You floored three bikers last week because they think they own the road? Oh, okay. That's cool. So, have you doxed yourself lately on the internet? Did you want to become a convicted felon today? Or did you want to just admit to felonies in the chat? You floored three bikers last week because they think they own the road. Define floored. Would you like to elaborate there, crazy Dutch? Crazy Dutch who wants to get beaten up and left in a crazy ditch? You better be careful. I'll bet one of them had cameras. I'll bet you're on camera, and I'll bet you're going to prison. Enjoy. Brownie Dog says, dye your hair. What? Dye my hair? What the hell are you talking about, woman? Brendan Albert says, are cyclists gay? Some of them. Brendan Albertson says, it's hard to like you guys. Look, I'm a pro driver. I spent nearly a decade driving other people's vehicles on the clock. So I could care less what you unskilled motorists think about cyclists on the road. You are unskilled motorists. Like, get real. The roads are for everybody to use, and I get out of the way and allow the fastest entity to get up the road. If it's an ostrich, a cheetah, a peregrine falcon, another cyclist, a car, a motorcycle, a moped, or a fucking tortoise, if it's going faster than me, I will get out of its way and let it go up the road. And if you don't like it, you can suck dog. I'm a pro driver. You're likely never paid to drive a vehicle. Got a CDL? Okay. Maybe you're more skilled than me, but I doubt it. Driving is one of the most pathetic things in the US because, unlike in Finland, people generally don't know what they're doing. How do so many people drive so much and still suck so hard at it? Why are so many people on their phone updating their Instagram story instead of going when the fucking light turns green? What the hell is that shit all about? Lead, follow, or GTFO the way. Noobs. I will run you off the road on a bike. Don't screw around. I do shit on the vehicle scale. If you don't believe me, come have a ride. Don't make me run you over and land on your neck. I will smoke you up the local climbs. So, bring it on, bitch. Bring it on. Brownie Dog says, if you could bike on any planet besides Earth, which one would it be? Definitely Venus. I'm partial to Venus, and there's nothing like riding a bike in a sulfuric acid rainstorm. That would be my choice. Brendan Albertson, if you drive trucks and you leave 4 feet between the bike and the truck, like what's required by law in most states, including Pennsylvania, then how is it a problem? If you're 4 feet away, how have I put myself in danger? Get a clue. Get a clue and, get a clue in a new job because you shouldn't have a CDL. You don't know what you're talking about. Don't be a hack. I could care. Ooh, you're an amateur MMA fighter. Guess what? The toughest people would never do MMA. I was trained starting in 3rd grade by one of the toughest people in the world. The highest ranking Taekwondo black belt, John Chung Kim. Maybe you've heard of him. Look up Kim's Black Belt Academy and then ask me if I give a fuck. If you are an amateur, you're an amateur MMA. Ooh, I'm so spooked. Ooh, you're so hard. What weight class are you in? Fat dummies? I'm much more likely to run away from you and make fun of you than I am to get in a fight with you, idiots. People, like what? Is that an online threat? It's, ooh, don't act hard. I'm an amateur MMA fighter. I love it. I love it. I wasn't expecting such comedy this morning, but cheers. That is pretty funny. Oh no, an amateur MMA fighter. You might have frightened somebody with that. I was taking martial arts probably before you were born, and I know about 9 of them. So I don't care about your BJJ. Go give somebody a BJJ and see if I give 2 fucks. I will smoke you up the climb and laugh at you in the ring. End on this stream. Taekwondo is the art of breaking shit with your foot. So if you've ever been kicked by a cyclist, I highly recommend you try it. Scod God 420 says, what's this channel about? Today it's about space weather, cycling, and earth weather. Because we're going to talk about why that hurricane is not coming to the US. So, I mean, this is a very simple thing. It all boils down to one thing, folks. Saharan dust. Yeah, Saharan dust. I became a weather expert because of the sport of cycling. You see how it's all related? It's all related. Don't get it twisted, folks. The reason that I took up space weather was because Earth weather is far too easy to forecast. So I needed additional challenges. And making fun of people on YouTube is not a challenge. But I'm up for it. Oh, brother. So yeah, Saharan dust is the reason why that tropical system is gonna fizzle out. I'm not even sure what it's rated at the moment because I've been seeing a lot of hype about it. People saying silly things like, space weather is gonna affect the jet stream and make the hurricane go further west or some nonsense like that. And it's just cute. It's super cute. All right, what do we have? Oh, so you weigh 100 kilograms, which means you're not in my weight class, which means you're probably really slow, really slow. You know, really slow guys, they're not good at getting kicked any more than really fast guys are. You ever been kicked in the pelvis? You want to see what that's like? I definitely wouldn't kick you in the pelvis because I would have nightmares about the sound it would make. Let's see. Yeah, space weather. Yeah, nobody uses Taekwondo and MMA, but Taekwondo is a great basis on which to build 8 other martial arts. How about 2 swords? How about that? A little bit of Shaolin White Crane. What about some Jeet Kune Do? What about some Shaolin Long Fist? What about some other things that I can't mention? Not scared of your MMA amateur, your amateur MMA career. Not impressed. Good luck. Dropped a like. Yeah, I mean, we had pretty many viewers here. At least we have 6 viewers and 6 likes right now. That's pretty good. But hey, yesterday's live stream had over 3,000 views. So cheers. The channel has turned a corner, a massive one. So congratulations on realizing it exists, folks. Don't matter, mate. It means I'm quite a bit larger than you are. Oh, okay. Yeah, quite a bit larger, which means you can go uphill quite a bit slower, which is what I'm concerned with. So congratulations. You might be able to bench press me, but I'll smoke you up the climb. Like, okay, cool. It's like you got to have goals, right? 2 swords. Yeah, 2 swords does sound gay. But we're not talking about crossing swords. The swords are in my 2 hands. The one time during Taekwondo class, at the time master, now grandmaster's son, John Jr., went into white crane in the middle of class. He got knuckle push-ups for it. I was about 3 years younger and terrified because I had no idea what it was. He did some crazy thing and like went up in the air and there were crane wings, and I just kind of jumped back and he missed by about 4 miles. But I was like, "What the hell is this?" And later I found out that it was Shaolin white crane, just broken out in the middle of a Taekwondo sparring session. That's correct. It's good for exercise and BS for combat. You are 100% right. I don't think you understand how fighting works, Brendan. You don't just fight random people that you talk to on YouTube. That's not how it works. This isn't an amateur MMA bout. So try to like keep yourself in reality, because you're talking out your. All right, so I'm going to bring up a forecast model here just to show you that the forecast model doesn't even show a hurricane hitting the U.S. And you know, since people like to say things that aren't true on the internet, let's take a look at it. It would be the West Atlantic. Where the hell is the West Atlantic? There it is. So yeah, the West Atlantic will put up the. Is there a forecast? Yeah, so the forecast is showing this thing starting to look like a hurricane. But we're talking about 150 hours out. So there's the 150-hour forecast. 938 millibars. I'm sorry, 938 hectopascals. That's enough to be a hurricane. I would say good news. Surf's up for the Outer Banks. Like it's not even forecasted by the GFS model, at least, to hit the U.S. And here's why. It's because and by the way, even if it does, it's not even gonna be as strong as that forecast is. It might just barely make like tropical storm. And here's why. Because particulates. So if you check out nullschool.net's Earth wind map, you will find it is very, very obvious that this low, actually there are two lows there, they are completely entrained in, look at how much dust there is. Here's the Saharan dust. See that? Saharan dust. And there's more to come. So this system is just sucking it in, and watch what happens. Here's the forecast from Null School. It shows the dust just reaching up toward Florida. That's like a wall of non-convection. So it's a nothing burger. That tropical system, both of those tropical systems are nothing burgers, period. End of discussion. All right, so sunspot number, just to briefly talk space weather here, is still well above the average at 173, 172, 173 sunspots, something like that. And radio flux down to 140 solar flux units. So that's what's going on. I mean, sun's pretty quiet here. We don't see any major flares. Earth remains in a South Pole oriented magnetic heliosphere sector. Little bit of flaring been kicking up in the last few hours. We'll take a look at the GOES 19 SUVI. And let's see. I see movement down here. We're actually going to switch wavelengths here. We'll go from 304 to 94 to show the zones that are active. And that'll pretty much cover it. I'll close out the video today by talking news stories. News stories and, economic data and info. So it looks like the action is just here on the limb. So that's not too exciting. Sunspots are more likely to produce flares at the limb. They're about, I believe it's 4% more likely to produce a flare at the limb, which perhaps has to do with the emission angle of the underlying material or something like that. It's really not fully understood why that is, and most folks don't even really think about it. But yeah, Sunspots a little more likely to produce flares at the limb. So it's a pretty quiet day as far as solar activity goes. Oh, are there coronal holes? I'll give you a brief synopsis of that. The coronal hole scenario is, since people probably still think that they forecast earthquakes or something, we've got some. Yeah, we've got some coronal hole. Oh, and we've got some big filaments yet as well. So we do have a potential to see major coronal mass ejections. And we do have a coronal hole rotating in here, just approaching center longitudes. So, like sometime today, we'll have one kind of pointed right at the Earth, and it'll still be another 2 or 3 days until we see a high-speed wind from that. It is of South Pole orientation. There's an animation of it. Let's see here, this red, that's South Pole oriented coronal hole, and then there is our 211 angstroms wavelength. Pardon the guerrilla filming technique, but the algorithm and landscape mode versus portrait mode, I don't know why it works like that, but the algorithm determines what our channel does, because this is a monetized channel. So it's, if let me get to your comments here. I see there are a number of them. So let me get to those. That tropical system will not affect Canada, most likely in any way. It'll be too far south. It's expected to make a U-turn after that point where I showed you. The image that I showed you right here, this is Wednesday, August 20th. So that is already 6 days out. And a forecast for this stuff beyond 3 or 4 days out is nonsense. So it's not going to even get that strong. The pressure will not get to 938. There's a forecast for you. All right. The pressure will remain higher than 938. And it's because of that Saharan dust that I mentioned. So that's what's going on with that. As far as finance goes, we'll head to CNBC and see what the headlines are there. S&P futures flat after 2 days of big gains. Some weak earnings reports came out. Treasury yields fall, so some people are buying bonds. And we won't tell you anything about what Jim Cramer says, because that guy is not useful in any way. He just yells and people think he's cool or something because he says curse words. And he's just, I don't know. I don't know what that guy's problem is. I think he's confused. Maybe he's paid off by the companies he endorses. Would you really be surprised if he was not an objective journalist? In 2025, would you seriously be surprised if anybody was unobjective? I certainly wouldn't be. All right, what do we have? Texas map fight as they try to redistrict. As they try to redistrict. Wait, what? Texas map fight spills west. I don't know. I guess they're gerrymandering in both states, and guess what? I don't care. That counts as politics. I have a political efficacy of zero. Not interested. I'm only interested in criticizing the idiots that feel the need to control your life, probably because they're unable to control their own. Pretty pathetic. All right, DBS sees rising demand for yuan settlements for Chinese exporters. Trump makes a weird Cold War comment. Anybody hear that? What was that? He thinks Leningrad is still a city, I guess. St. Petersburg, Trump thinks it's still called Leningrad because he's living in 1991, I guess. Okay, fantastic. Well done, President Trump. He said something about if we could free Leningrad. How about this one? Why a Fed rate cut could lead to bad news for big tech stocks. That is nonsense. That's from Yahoo Finance. A Fed rate cut would definitely cause big tech stocks to go up. So And the Fed is probably going to cut rates because the Fed has 100% become a political entity. I mean, don't suggest it hasn't, because it 100% is. But if the banks that are the member banks that vote on the board that decide what the Federal Reserve actually does, because the chairman doesn't do that, the member banks vote on the things. The chairman is just the figurehead, like the CEO of a corporation. If they're political, then the Fed's political, and they probably are, right? Look at the policies of the major banks. And of course, we don't know which banks represent the Fed. Don't even get me started on the Fed. If the Fed cuts rates, tech stocks will rise because they will start buying their own stock. They will pay more people in stock options. And like, of course, they're going to borrow money to buy their own stock. Duh. So I don't know who writes these articles, but you should listen to what Peter Schiff says about economics, because Peter Schiff will smoke you at economics. Geez. All right. So what else do we have here? Anybody know anything about stellar lumens? Yeah, that's the only crypto that I ever talk about, stellar lumens. I could care less about Bitcoin, and Ethereum would be the one that I would actually buy if I really seriously invested in crypto. I would buy Ethereum. And I don't care about that other XRP thing or Dogecoin or Trump coin or anything like that. Only stellar lumens, XLM, because I own some. So there you go. There's my biased advice on crypto. Don't buy any. And if you do buy XLM, it's like, I don't know what it is. It's like 40 cents. 40 cents per stellar lumen or something like that, I would guess. Let me check. I better check. Stellar lumen, it's, according to coin metrics, 44 cents per stellar lumen. In other headline news, before we close this mother out, the Boomer Mirage. Say what? Is that for ZH members only? If the visible outcome of an invisible strategy, one that extracted everything, it could be boomers. Let us know what you think about boomers in the comments. And if you want to know what I think about them, I'll leave my opinion to myself for now, but I'll tell you where I line up. I'm Generation X, and my mom is a boomer. So I can make generalized statements about her generation without personally insulting her. So I may do that. I may not. Maybe I'll compliment the boomers and say, the boomers are the greatest generation of all time. Thank you, boomers. You did a fine job with Earth. Boomers, you've done a great job running all these companies and governments over the last decades. Thank you so much. Oh, boomers. Let us know what you think of boomers in the comments. Maybe after you press the like button. And by the way, please press share as well, because sharing is caring. All right, let's see. Parasites. Oh my God, parasites. Did you know that you can eat diatomaceous earth? Yeah, diatomaceous earth. It's harmless to you, but it makes parasites want to vacate the premises. Did you know? Yeah, diatoms. Diatoms. Edible glass. Do you eat glass? I do. It's also the best insecticide. It's non-toxic. It just discourages bugs without poisoning them. It's non-evil. Like, it doesn't spray pesticide, herbicide, and fungicide all over the place. It's just white dust. Don't inhale the white dust, folks. Inhaling glass is bad. Yeah, little spiky glass skeletons. You could chug like a pound of them. Might give you diarrhea, but it probably won't turn into a giant silicated mass in your intestines and cause you to have a small bowel obstruction and have to get surgery or die. Probably won't do that. Just kidding, folks. Don't eat diatoms, all right? Don't eat diatoms. I know there are food-grade diatoms. Consult your doctor before consuming any supplements or weird parasite treatments. This is not medical advice. This stuff about diatoms is for novelty purposes only. Please don't be moronic and do moronic things. Yesterday I wore the "Do Not Pole Vault the Caldera" t-shirt because, like, that's a real thing. You gotta say, hey, don't be like Steve Stimpak and pole vault calderas. It could lead to you dying in a tragic ping pong accident. just like what happened to poor Steve Stimpak, the pioneer in the sport of pole vaulting volcanoes. And when he took up ping pong, that was what did him in. Ain't fate a bitch. All right. U.S. retail clothing stores lost 300,000 jobs in the 5 years since the pandemic. That's a nice headline. We've got drones flying drug cartel hunting missions in Mexico. Hopefully that is at the behest of the Mexican government and not just a rogue operation where the U.S. is just flying drones in there just willy-nilly. I suspect the Mexican Air Force would take some exception to that. So I suspect it's probably not against the will of the Mexican government. All right, what other comments do we have here? Anybody? This stream is about to end. I'm going to give it another 3 or 4 minutes, and then we are out of here. Rare Earths rally. Not very surprising there. So do we see a spike here in gold prices and so forth? Let me go back to the markets. What do we have? So as far as gold, silver, etc., gold is down $6 an ounce. Silver is up 22 cents an ounce. Natural gas is down 2 cents, so about flat. Oil is up 28 cents per barrel. That is light sweet crude, if you're wondering. Yeah, most of it looks like bonds are down. So it looks like some bonds are getting bought here in terms of both U.S., German, Japanese. Actually, Japanese bonds are selling off, but all the rest seem to be buying as they are all down. Yes, bonds go down when they're bought because governments can offer you less and less interest the more interest there is in the interest, if that makes sense. Just to make it as convoluted as I possibly can. So let's see. JPY reacts. There is an Alaska summit coming tomorrow, so that will be interesting as Trump and Putin are holding a joint presser on Friday. So that could be great if it leads to less bombs and rounds being spent along with lives in Ukraine. All right. Just getting to your comments here. If you've got comments, make sure you leave them rapidly. And if you're watching in syndication, leave a comment. We see all comments. I don't think anything about Brock Lesnar fighting style. I'm uninterested in it. So on this chart, you look like Timmy's friend at South Park. I don't know what that means. If you leave a comment, try to make it coherent. That always helps. I'm more likely to respond if it's coherent. If I know what you've meant, I'm more likely to say something in response. Yada, yada, yada. Stay tuned. I am paid to ride bikes. So what do you want? I mean, when you're paid to ride bikes and you represent your own brands and your own team that you ride for, like, okay, sorry. Don't like it, like unsubscribe. Don't like the information, refute it. It doesn't hurt my feelings if you like it or not. All right, let's see. Catfish Dog. Hey, thanks. It's interesting to see your comments. Brownie Dog creates animation from photos with YouTube editor. So much fun yesterday making brownie vids. Okay, great. Maybe go subscribe to Brownie Dog. Are those vids on the Brownie Dog channel? Go check out Brownie Dog, folks. She makes AI cartoons. I'm definitely not trying it because all of that AI art is more like II art, imaginary intelligence, or you could say NI art, not intelligence, because there's nothing intelligent about it, but glad you like it. I mean, if you like it, cheers. I think all of that AI art is trash. And as somebody who's studied art in a rather advanced fashion, I find it to be distasteful and trash. To Luck says beautiful eyes. Well, thanks. Mary Wright, what about methylene blue? I've heard some stuff about methylene blue. I've heard that it's a complete pseudoscientific hoax, which is what I tend to believe. And I've heard that it does some magical, crazy thing and it cures everything from IDS to hemorrhoids. Do you ever see cool nature biking, or are you going too fast like birds? We see nature constantly on the bike. The bike is the best speed at which to take in all types of terrain, whether it's an off-road trail or whether it's the scenery on the side of the road. The bicycle is the exact perfect speed to take in things. So a car is far too fast and walking is far too slow. Bike is the perfect speed, and the utilitarian value is unprecedented. The bicycle is the most efficient means ever devised to transport humans. So it doesn't get better than that. If you want to feel the feeling of flying, go ride a time trial bike. You know, you're on the aero bars, your head's way out here. It's like you're super efficient. You get some shrink wrap clothing that does not like wave around in the wind. And all of those things will save you like 100 watts. So you're just flying down the road with minimal effort a lot of times. It's very much like you achieve a flow state like you would not believe rapidly. So yeah, it's great for fitness, but it's also great transportation. I mean, can I say it again? The bicycle is the most efficient means ever devised to transport humans. So if you have a disaster kit, if you have a bunker and you're all prepped for doomsday and you don't have a bike, you suck at prepping. Like there's a very specific kind of bike that you should get, okay? It's you want a bike that has a pannier rack on it, that has armored tires, that has self-sealing extra heavy tubes on it. Maybe you got to have a specific bike for your prepping kit. Because like what happens if you don't have any gas? What happens if you have no wood gasifier? What happens if the Walking Dead scenario happens and the transmission goes, you blow an axle out? Like there's all kinds of things. Do you have like every part for your car? I mean, what's easier? Get a bike that's all ready for doomsday, or like, I don't know, it's like personally I would get a very specific kind of bike. I would get a 27-inch hybrid. Why? Because they have Schrader valves, just like a car valve. The tubes are some of the easiest tubes to find because you can get those tubes at Walmart. There are a lot of those tubes around. Like that specific kind of bike, the 27-inch hybrid, that is your doomsday prepping bike. Yeah, I mean, do I sell bikes? I mean, I ride for a bike shop. So I don't personally sell bikes, but I advertise the local bike shop. The area that I live is a massive cycling community. There are thousands of riders just in the club and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands more riders who aren't in the club. So I ride for the local shop. Support your local bike shop. If you want me to help you shop for bikes, DM me on Discord. Put comments in the Discord chat in the Smash News Network Discord channel, which is linked on the homepage and below this video in the description at smashomash.com. And maybe it's not in the description, but it's certainly on the homepage, smashomash.com. You can find our web forum there. I'll help you shop for bikes. Like I don't want you to buy one from our shop. You got to buy one from your local shop so they can put it together for you. And so that if something goes wrong, they can fix it. And so they can tell you what tools to buy and like how to change a tube out and things like that. There's certain stuff that you slowly learn as you progress. You carry certain tools. You carry, a pump and a tube and stuff like that. Hey, thanks for leaving the link. But I've got to end this stream as 8 o'clock has arrived. And cheers. Thanks for tuning in, folks. It's time to go to work. And when I say go to work, I mean work, because my job is cool. I'm paid to instigate. Yeah, I'm a paid instigator. My job is to find people who want to grow their business bigger and then facilitate that. So, yeah, we'll see you soon. Thanks for tuning into the Smash News Network, Least Busted Name of News. No hurricane coming to the U.S. anytime soon, at least not in the East Coast. And space weather is pretty chill, too. So we may see some flaring happen, but it's kind of unlikely. I wouldn't be expecting to see anything beyond an M-class flare. And yeah, that's where we'll have to call it a day. Don't forget to press like, subscribe, share, all the things, and visit us on the socials because there's exclusive content across social media. I mean, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and of course on Twitter. So all those links on the homepage as well, smashomash.com. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you soon, folks. And until next time, I've been your host, Dan, aka Smash-O-Mash, and may that solar wind be at your back.